Now that you've seen how to download data from a live stream or a historic stream, let's look at doing some simple computations. The spreadsheet in front of you here is what we developed the last time, just to download some market data where we had a stock symbol, stock price, and volume. So let's extend this now to add a formula. So I'm going to click a cell over here, go and choose a formula block here. This drops a formula block in here, and now I can type in a formula. We'll make the formula very simple. These have got nothing to do with Excel formula. These are formula that are part of our Cloudcel application. As far as Excel is concerned, this is just text. Okay, so let's do something quite simple. Let's say it's case price times 100. That's a very simple formula. We can add other formula blocks in here too. We can give these names. We can call this times 100. We can call this let's see, volume times 10. And here we'd say case underscore volume times 10. And here we could just say something like conditional. And the conditional one might be something like if case price is greater than 100, then 100, if I can spell. Okay, let's say over 100, else less than 100. It's a very simple conditional expression. Let's just open this up so you can actually see the whole thing. And now we can actually run this, but yeah, let's just run it as it is. So when this runs, it will take the data and it will actually compute based on these values. So we should see something like I don't know, 2,220 over here, and 6,600 here, and there you go, less than 100, over 100. So that's an example of how you do very simple computations. And these are all row-based operations. And there's a whole bunch of types that are built in. So for example, here you can kind of see an integer type. I could have multiplied this by 10.2 and run this again, and I would have got real values in the N column, and in the O column you basically see that we have strings. Okay, so so this should run again. This is all running up in the cloud, and there's the value we have. Great. So that's how you do very simple computations. If I reduce the size of this, you can see the whole program. Essentially all you're doing is filling out cells in certain places and giving things certain names, and then choosing where to spray them. But actually what's interesting about this is for the first time we've actually created a stream ourselves. And so if we look over here, we can see that the input was this case stream, which has a particular ID, and the output was case 12382, which was the ID. So if we actually look at the streams right now, we will have one stream that we've just created. In fact, we probably created two. The first one and the second one where I used a real. And if you actually look at the properties here, you'll see it's case price symbol times volume times 10 and condition. And in the next one the volume times 10 now is a real number, or a number with a decimal point, if you want to think of it that way. We could have changed the description or the name of these to something else to make it more meaningful. But that's essentially how we write applications. It's very, very simple. And we can write very simple applications like this, or we can write very sophisticated applications that communicate with each other in the cloud, and we'll see how to do those later on. So you can actually define a network of these applications, each sending streams to each other. But that's a much more advanced feature. So let's just look at some examples of functions. So this is the Cloudcel functions or samples file that you saw earlier, and it's just full of all kinds of examples. So here there are many string functions that are available to you, and all of them are shown in here, and examples of them are shown in here. There are time functions that allow you to use time. By the way, if you use a / like this, it's a comment. There are functions for converting between types, like convert to Boolean, but most of the time conversions are done for you automatically, so you never have to worry about converting to anything. So there are comparison functions that allow you to compare things. Comparison not equal functions, and the list goes on. We've got many math functions, the usual thing that you would find in Excel: sine, cosine, tangent, absolute value, conditionals. We have a number of constants that are also available to you. So we have booleans, true, false. We have durations of time. We have integers. We have real numbers, we have strings, we have time values, we have counters, and all the usual defaults that you would have here. We have array functions too. They're a little more advanced. We have random functions. So you can kind of see here, these are all various random functions. And then we get into more complicated types of functions where you actually are defining windows. So imagine you have a stream and you want to find out for each minute what the value of, let's say, a particular stock symbol is. Sum all of the volume of data for a particular minute. Or sum the total value of sales in a particular minute. And those are more advanced features that we'll come on to afterwards. But again, these are all just great examples of things. And let me just go right to the end of this. You can see you can even write parallel applications here. So here, this is kind of like a MapReduce kind of application where we have a historic stream and we're splitting the stream up. So this is a very trivial one here. It's a stream that's defined over 12 minutes, and we're dividing that up into 4 3-minute windows. And of course you could have a year's worth of data where you're breaking it up into days or months or hours, and you can actually very easily generate massive amounts of parallelism just by changing numbers here. And you'll have noticed that there's in the action field for all of these applications, there's a launch and download. So let's just go back to the application that we wrote, and let me just show you something else. You can actually, if you double click each of these formula blocks, you actually will have an expression editor, and the expression editor will actually give you access to all of the kinds of types. So for example, in terms of math types, we've got all of the usual math types here. In terms of the convert functions, all of the usual convert functions that you would want. In terms of min-max functions, we have all the min-max functions, that just 2 of them actually. We have lots of string functions, including a mechanism for doing Lucene queries. That's a more advanced feature. We can discuss that a little bit later. And there's a little explanation about the types and etc. in the editor. So usually any field or cell in a formula or in a and let's say this Excel control here, you can usually double click them and you'll get an editor that comes up, and you can change the properties. So I could change this to just downloading if I just wanted to download the stream, or I could just launch if I didn't want to download. It just launches the application into the cloud, creating a new stream that could be consumed by somebody else, or it could be consumed by myself. And if you have a continuously operating application that could run for years or months, then you could just monitor that application. You can kind of see how far it's gotten. But those are more advanced features that we'll look at later. Okay, that will do for the moment.